are you? It's good to see you. Now that the dust has settled down since the weekend and you've had a chance to kind of reflect back on the game, have you as a sort of collective forward unit spoken about maybe some of the issues? The scrum obviously being one of them. Everybody was talking up there on the scrum before the game, but England seemed to have the upper hand for some reason.
Yeah, look, we've had a look and we've reviewed it all. Got over a good bit of it yesterday, and we've been out in the pitch today, doing bits and pieces. We're confident that we stick to what we do, what we've been practicing, what we've put out there prior to last weekend. We're confident that we still have a good scrum. There's a few variables that maybe didn't go our way, but we probably have to. What the learnings we have to take from that is how to manage that better. We probably understand that when things aren't going your way, not to continue trying to beat it with the same stick, if you know what I mean. We're going to maybe try and look at other ways to fix it, and maybe get our communication with the referee a wee bit better. Other areas like that, I'd probably leave the more technical stuff up to the front row. But for us to have a better out and sort of change the way that was trucking in the game, that'll probably be a big learning from that aspect. Yeah.
Do you feel that you need to be wiser in terms of trying to read particular referees? Because you seem to be penalised quite a lot of penalties given away during the game.
Yeah, like obviously, myself especially, there was a few really stupid ones in there. Probably getting a bit excited, carried away, trying to force things to happen instead of just, as I said, there, similar to the scrum, sticking to our game, doing what we can do, sticking to our game plan, what we've been doing, what we've shown that we can do, not only in the last campaign but throughout this campaign when we do what we know we can do, rather than trying to go off sheet, if you know what I mean, which is maybe not only in that area of the game but in other aspects of the game we did that too, and give England a few ins, but on the whole I thought to be able to keep England to not letting them score when a team goes a man down, their back's against the wall, things can happen for a team like that. Like it definitely galvanises you. Just for us, if you think back to the games that we might have played, South Africa away, we go a man down with a red card early on enough in the game, we go to win that game. It gives you the wins that you get when you're a man down are twofold, and it raises everyone's spirits, and I think that was something that we had to be wary of with England, but towards the end of the game we knew we stuck to our game plan and got back on track with what we had to do, and for me it was pleasing to see when we went 15-all that we were able to just continue plugging away.
And just a final question, what do you expect from Scotland this week?
Yeah, look, Scotland, when they get playing, they're a very exciting team to watch. They play a lot of rugby, a lot of very, very nice, a nice expansive game. They will play to width. They will have exciting trick plays that they often pull out of the bag. We just got to make sure that within those sort of expansive phases of play, they like to play, that we stay switched on. Their main men, obviously. Van der Merwe obviously won't be playing, but the likes of you don't need to mention names, but Hoggy or Finn Russell, those guys there are definitely massive threats. Not to mention their threats they have in their back row carrying as well. So we got to make sure that we're aware of those. Again, sticking to our game plan and trying to make sure that we can deal with those as best possible. I thought our D last weekend was pretty good. So if we can make sure we're on top of it again this weekend, and if we can get our D look after itself, then hopefully our attack can flow pretty freely.
Good man. Thanks very much.
Cheers, Corkers.
Hi, Ian Henderson here from Off the Ball. How are you?
All good, thanks.
Good. I suppose that every player is in the mindset that they can be called upon at any moment in a game, but I doubt you thought you would be needed as early as 82 seconds into the game.
No, funny enough, actually, just prior to the game, Jack Conan and I were in the change rooms before we got changed, joking about it, about coming on early. And last Six Nations, it actually happened against Wales too. So in my head, I was almost thinking, flip of the odds of it happening again must be pretty slim. But there we go. 78 minutes later was a different story.
Big time, yeah, very tough. And when it was 15-all, you just mentioned it it there. All the momentum seemed to be with England. The crowd was really getting behind them. It was incredibly loud in the stadium. What was going through your mind?
Yeah, we had a few moments together. We were able to pull it in nice and tight, and just sort of confirmed to each other what we wanted to do, what we wanted of everyone, and it wasn't that we needed to go and change anything drastically. England, we knew they were going to have a purple patch at some stage in the match, and they came out at half time, probably rightly so, pumped up, and that purple patch lasted probably 15-20 minutes, and then we knew we had to just continue with our defence. Obviously, some aspects of the set piece weren't going well, so we kind of tried to sort those out, and then again just stick to our attacking game plan, and it came off.
And how big of a moment would it be for you to get a start now against Scotland in the Aviva?
Yeah, look, it's been in ways an exciting but frustrating campaign for me. So a start would be massive. Be delighted to get back in, and especially in front of a home crowd. It would be unbelievable to have this opportunity against a really good Scottish side to potentially do something special with the lads.
Brilliant, Ian. Thanks so much.
Thanks.
Hi Ian, how are things?
All good, thanks.
How were the lungs holding up in those last 10 or 15 minutes? Because obviously you come on early in the game, and through various injuries you haven't got to play a lot of rugby in the last few months.
Yeah, just a few frustrating things between the start of the season and over the last few weeks, be it COVID or whatever else. They were okay. The doc came on at maybe about 60 or 65 minutes and said, "How are you hanging in there?" And I said, "I'm happy to go on." So when it gets to whether or not you're fully fit or you're not fully fit, the last 10-15 minutes of a game are always going to be tough, and you're going to be in that dark place. But thankfully, a lot of lads were adding massive energy around the pitch in terms of defence and attack, and that definitely helps keep you going.
And in terms of discipline, I know Corky asked about the scrums earlier on, but when it comes to lineouts, is there something there you need to address? Because it seems regularly enough over the last year or so that there's one penalty or so every game for that obstruction at a lineout, where you're kind of stepping in front of the jumper, just trying to close that gap. Is that something you need to work on?
When we look at we've reviewed our lineout obviously, and in previous games it might be slightly different. Those all come from, be it a mislift or something doesn't function well beforehand. That's usually the issue with that. When you fold around the back, it's usually due to a previous error, which is probably frustrating on our part, because we want to get good drill, we want to get good tempo. That one there, like there's various things that you can point at, but personally myself, I just need to make sure I'm more disciplined in behind Bernie there as he's going up. Obviously, we had massive threat, which we'd seen earlier on in the game from Maro Toje coming through the seams, and when you've got someone like that, he's your main worry there. And when you try to take that space in the middle of the line out, and he's not there, that's when it can show bad pictures to the referee. But yeah, I think that's something that when you hear about referees and their meetings, and you get a lot of feedback from the refs, and they're hot on things, that's definitely something that we probably need to be aware of, that they're hot on at the minute.
Thanks, Ian. Good luck this week.
Cheers.
Hi, Ian, how are things? Joe here from Virgin Media. How are you?
All good, thanks.
There was a couple of handling errors in the game, and it was quite unfortunate because a few of them were off good line breaks, where it seemed that last pass was kind of pushed or forced a little bit. But that's very much the philosophy of this team, as in, play to space and recycle the ball out of the tackle. So what's the learning there? What do you need to do to just get that right so that you can make that last pass stick?
Yeah, Faz, we talked about this. We looked at the few examples. Faz is massive on making sure that, even though it might appear like it's a last gasp attempt and throwing the ball away, to be able to see where you're passing, that's massive. To be able to look before you pass, and a lot of the times that might seem like such a basic thing, but so many times that doesn't get done, and those no look passes means that they could be half a foot behind or half a foot in front of where they should be, which then it leads to an instance like what happened in our game, or like potentially what happened to I think it was Jonathan Davis in the Wales game, and a ball goes down there. So being able to see where you're passing it, and if you're looking, you'll know if the pass is on or not. So I think that's something definitely a learning that we've looked at this week. I don't think that there's any part of FAS would be like, don't throw those passes, never throw those passes. But to be able to gather as much information as you can, be it by hearing the chat earlier, having an earlier look, or seeing the pass before you give it, all those things will give you more information to be able to make you make a better decision and have a better outcome there, I think.
Yeah, and like it seems that like there's an awful lot of belief in the message that's coming from the management team. Like you were saying, when it was 15-all, it was keep doing what we're doing. We know what the game plan is, stick to it. There must be a huge amount of belief within the group as to what your strategy is at the moment.
Yeah, like I think there's been a huge amount of buy-in over the last sort of 12, 18 months as to what we're doing. We know why we're doing it. The understanding is there amongst all the players, and that understanding coupled with the belief, I think, is why we can see things clicking into place and things starting to look good. It doesn't just come in attack. It has to be attack and defence. It has to be both sides of the ball. And if one doesn't work, the other one's not going to function too well either. So it's we see it in the training pitch. We train really well. We train at quite high intensity, and I think the guys seeing it in the training pitch, working well, and the pictures that we get shown to us in terms of the video review stuff, we can see the evidence is there for the belief in it. So the coaches have a very clear message, which make it easy to believe in, I suppose.
Good luck in Saturday. Thanks, Ian.
Cheers.
Take the last couple there, folks.
Good morning, how's it going? How much must it feel getting kind of the moment? No fault of his own, he's got a head knock, like he's just given a pass, and then suddenly he's out of another international, and he's had a few at this stage. It must be really tough to watch a teammate struggle at this through this.
Yeah, it's definitely frustrating. Big Cheese wouldn't take something like that lightly either. It's definitely will be frustrating for him. But he's probably pretty confident that he's got one thing that he does have on his side is a really good medical team that are going to look after him and make the right decisions. Not only the medical team, but I have, and I'm sure Cheese has, full faith in the coaching setup that they understand what the correct decisions are to be made around that, and that won't, and I'm certain that won't be held against him. So he knows that he has the full support of the coaches and medical staff, and again the players too. The players are very much behind him and ensuring that when he does get to come back, that he's had the recommended rest, recovery time, and make sure that when he comes back into it, like he has the full backing of everyone. So, like, I think it's obviously it's a very it's a highly spoken about area at the minute, but as I said, Cheese has and I think all the players have full confidence in what our medical staff are doing.
You've opened the door for a couple of players. John McCarthy, who I think you were fast tracked as a kid into the Ireland setup, but like this guy's only played 4 times for Leinster. I know he's only been in for a day or two, but how is he settled in? What kind of player do you see there? And you see someone Irish fans can get excited about if he's getting into the squad up more games for Leinster?
Yeah, definitely. I think he's come in. Had a good chat through him. We didn't get to do a huge amount yesterday, but got through a lot of detail stuff, and he got over the detail with his lineout really well. And out there training today, he looked very sharp at his lineout work, and look, for someone coming in that age, with not a huge amount of senior experience, to see him slotting in and getting over his detail and nailing a lot of stuff in the session, it's exciting to see, and I think he's definitely got a bright future ahead of him. Cheers.
Ian, sorry, could I just add one very quickly here? You've alluded already to all the frustration you've had with the season that you've had so far, but what would it mean to you to be part of a Triple Crown winning side at the weekend, and obviously the outside chance of even taking a title? What would that mean to you after the season you've had so far?
Yeah, like obviously an incredibly frustrating season, as we've already chatted about. Obviously the the chance of being able to lift silverware with any team, be it club or especially country, is absolutely enormous. But one thing that very few guys, I'm actually not sure if any guys in the squad have lifted silverware internationally at home. That would be unbelievably massive. I think the excitement that has brought us leading into this week has been huge. I think it's a massive driver for us, but we got to make sure that we set that sort of excitement aside to ensure that we can concentrate in our game. The guys who've been involved for a number of years know how difficult it is to come across something at international level, some form of silverware. So look, we can focus on the Triple Crown and hope that what we do during the week covers that off, and then obviously whatever happens after that will either be an added bonus, and hopefully France can do the job. Not France can do the job. England can do the job with France.
Michael, take a quick one for you, tomorrow, and then we'll finish up.
Thanks.
Cheers, David. Ian, I just wanted to ask you, obviously were part of that squad in 2015 that had a day, the last day, that was kind of similar in the matchups. You played Scotland and France played England. Obviously the mathematical equations made that more kind of nerve-wracking, but could you just talk us about some of your memories of that day and going into it, and how your emotions fluctuated over the course of that Saturday?
Yeah, I think heading into that game, we were the second game, weren't we? I think Wales had just done a pretty good job on Italy. We knew we had to score as many points as possible against Scotland going into that, and we went out, and I think we maybe had a slow enough start, but then we got into it and ended up, I think it was 40 odd points, 11, something around that, something like that. I can't remember the exact scoreline. We were delighted when we finished the game, but there was like a nervous excitement. It wasn't a celebration. It was right, we've done that, but like it's not done. And then I remember afterwards we were upstairs in Murrayfield watching the game unfold on the screen. Meanwhile, they were trying to get the post-match speeches, and the president's chatting and presenting the refs with the corner flag, and all the official stuff was happening, but no one was watching any of it. Everyone was just watching the screen, just waiting to see what was happening. And then I remember towards the end, France went to try and play out of their own in-goal area, and there was gasps everywhere. A handful of pints had been taken at that stage, and it was like the excitement was through the roof. And then I think at the end of it, I think it was Cockett was playing for France at the time, and he booted the ball out on his own goal line after they tried to run out a time or two, and then the place just erupted, and then went downstairs. And I think a load of the fans have been watching outside, and then they let them all back into the stadium, and we got presented the trophy on the pitch, and it was a great experience all around.
Cheers, Ian. He's looking for more this weekend. Cheers.